Peace, family, peace. We are now live. Yes, we should be live. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, waiting, being patient. I'm with the brother Rod Hayes. We about to get it in. Woo, it's gonna be a powerful show tonight. The City of Gods. It's gonna be powerful. Shout out to everybody who checked out the two videos of Rod recently had on Patreon. You know they YouTube snatched one of our most recent videos where Rod Hayes was exposing some things. Shout out to everybody who signed up for that. Besides that, we're gonna get to a commercial. Family, be comfortable. Tell your friends and family we're alive. We're giving a thorough history lesson tonight. Hit the like button, and we'll be back in a second. All right, let me get to these commercials, and we'll be right back, family.
Welcome to the Sacred Tree. This is Stardust Jewelry for the collective. All of our pieces are spiritually downloaded, handcrafted, and created with the love and healing powers of our set. We pride ourselves on using nothing but the best crystals, 14 karat gold, and sterling silver to highlight the conductivity of this alchemical process. So many superpowers for us to tap into, and the crystals are here to help you. I always say whatever crystal you choose, it chooses you at the same time. It's a symbiotic relationship. So feel free to tap into the sacredtree.life, see what we have to offer. Rock.
It's the numerational session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. And get my books on Amazon now. On Sunday, October 9th in Stone Mountain Village from 2 to 7 p.m. Papa Ashwa Kwesi and the Red Pillar will be in Stone Mountain. Get your tickets through Linktree/King Simon the Numerator or text now at 347-496-1022. Get your tickets now.
Hey there! Had a bad dream? I have dreams too. Some parts are scary and some parts are fun. Always remind yourself, it's only a dream and everything will be okay. I had a dream about being in a forest too. Check it out, my pet Petey was with me. Order your copy of Kayla Petey and the Forest on Amazon today.
All right. Wow, y'all in the building early today. We got 1,200 people in here in 2 minutes. Hey, y'all really want to see this video, huh? Rod gonna have to bring it home. Rod, welcome back to the show, my brother. Welcome back.
I'm glad to be back, man. Appreciate you for what you do.
Indeed, indeed. I've been having some real good conversations with the brother Rod Hayes on the phone lately. He's been teaching me some stuff that I've been neglecting these years to research and study. So I want to salute the brother for his thorough research and make sure y'all support the brother in the things that he do. He's putting a lot of time and work in what he does to, you don't just get to his level overnight. So salute to this brother. You made some statements about Tahuti, my brother. You made some statements about America. There's so much talk right now about America being, ancient, the Egyptian gods coming from America. Huh?
We can start this with the known epithets that refer to America. We know it's called the Great Melting Pot. We know that. We know it's called the land of milk and honey. We know that. We know it's called the land of opportunity. Unless you're from here. Then you get stepped on. We know they call it God's country. But we ain't putting the pieces together. It's all in our face in the epithets. This is called the promised land. Who the fuck promised it to who? Right? We don't ask them kind of questions because we don't want to go against the grain. We don't ruffle no feathers. Right?
Right.
So we don't know there is a classic city of the gods on every landmass. The city of Paris is the city of Isis. The name for Paris is Parthenon of Isis. Parthenon means the gathering place of. Now you notice that they gave when they got done with the Louisiana Purchase, which we went over last night on the other show. But when they got done with the Louisiana Purchase, they built something called an Eiffel Tower. It's a homonym. That's where the matriarchy fell under Greco-Roman rule. right? And the Eiffel Tower is to commemorate where the fall took place. Where fall is we talking about? The fall of Lucifer, right? Where they struck the great mother off her throne in an attempt to take over her house and replace her with a drag queen we call the Pope, right?
You cold-blooded. You
And
cold-blooded.
so when we go to South Africa, right next to where Credo Mutwa, the great Sanusi of the Zulu nation, was, there's a little body of water. It's referred to as the Yoni of the earth, the sacred and holy waters, right? And there's rituals at the close of the age that the women do in sequence to purify the earth by using the different ages of women to go in ritual format into the river. I mean, the body, it's like a little lake. But it's called the Yoni of the earth. And it's where they have a great female matriarchal ritual. And what it does, the side effect of the energy that's being harnessed is to turn what's called desert into forests again. So the women has to make atonement with the earth, right? And give offering and supplication to the earth and honor the great Yoni of the great mother. It's all symbolic, but it's metaphysical in purpose. We talking about altering the energy grid. So right around here in the area where we talking, that's what was called the Absu in the Sumerian tablets. In the great stone buildings in what we call Zimbabwe in Rafali, right? Over there, they got these great stone structures, which was obviously dwelling places that over the years fell apart, right? So this is the Absu. This was the noble city of Enki, right? And then down here in Mexico, we have the great the pyramid to the great Thunderbird, which was called the city of Thoth. This is called Tahuti's country or Thoth's country.
Mexico is Tahuti's country.
The whole of the Americas.
The whole of the Americas
is the land of Tahuti. The pyramids that you see in Mexico, most of them are older than the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Give me a how old? Because now the Great Pyramids, if it's I think if you're going by water erosion, them joints is pretty old.
Well, you got to use a combination of geology, geography, astrology, and astronomy, and you can know exactly when it was built. And ain't hard to know. It was built 10,500 years ago using the Gregorian calendar. Right? It was the Ice Age was coming to a close, and the structures was raised. That's Hollywood. This the real shit right here you're looking at. Giza was Hollywood. This the real shit you're looking at. I can't stress that enough. Egypt, Kemet, the Nile used to run water into the Sahara Desert, and it was a tropical lush forest. Evidence shows that the Nile was rerouted to fill in the crater where the Mediterranean is. Under the Mediterranean, there's bigger Egyptian artifacts there, but that was only Hollywood. It was only to reenact what we call the holy drama in the public domain as a ritual practice for the people, to tell them the sciences and the maths by playing out the show in real life. It was like a reality show now. That's what Kemet was. That's not the place. That's not the purified place. That's not the great Atlan. That's this what you're looking at. Right? All through there. This is why Tupac was on the motherfucking rampage. This is the land that he has to redeem, and he came to get his shit for his people. He tagged me in, and now it's my turn to get the shit for all of us. All I got to do is do my due diligence, do my part. This is the city of God over here. Even Australia have a place where the elders go for ritual purposes, and they don't like strangers going out there, and they call it the meeting place of the gods. All of these ancient monuments is just to let you know where we was at, because we was already here. I keep telling these motherfuckers, Rich, we've been here so long, we had to build here for it to exist. So we've been here before here was here. This is what we talking about. We talking about the geography, the geometry, the sacred geometry, the Fibonacci sequence, all of the shapes that they use in geometry and shit. That's all of the building sciences to this shit. They'll give it to you as math, but they won't give it to you as using it as building blocks like Legos in your imagination to manifest reality. So we have to walk at each other through it as we rediscover how we create the reality that we want and how to get back on that frequency. Mm-hmm. And these images is so big because they'd have to leave an indelible impression. It's like putting a quotation mark at the end of the sentence. That's why they so big. At the great temple the other great temple, they used to have the Thunderbird ceremony. The average person have no fucking clue what the Thunderbird ceremony is and why they call it that. But we used to have these birds over here, but the settlers killed them off. And they feathers was like a fluorescent glow in the dark. Right? And they was funny looking birds, but they had beautiful feathers. And they was huge. And so we used to use the feathers, and the different tribes got different colors by geography that's naturally produced by the species of birds. Right? And when they would use them to give the different clan leaders and soldiers, right, they would give them feathers. And when we all got together, you can look at the great Thunderbird and you can tell if somebody didn't raise a chief because it'll be a hole. Right? But the great Thunderbird ceremony was a ritualistic commemoration to Tahuti. The actual bird, I can't remember the name right now, but it's an actual bird from Central America. It's not really a Benu bird, but it's the bird that Tahuti is modeled after, because it's a tribal totem bird. And the tribal totem bird don't live in Africa, so we say the Benu bird because that's the closest thing natural to Africa that's like that bird. So it's a similar bird, but different.
Okay.
Right. They also use the secretary bird sometime to display Tahuti. And they use different types of cranes at different times. All of these birds, they call them they study birds.
So isn't the ibis? Is that the name of the bird that Tahuti?
That's what they call it, the ibis.
Ibis, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's another bird. It's an actual bird that looked like that's from over here. I had a clip. I should have sent it to you.
Okay.
But a lot of the zoo types, like the zoo type for Anubis is not the jackal like we've been told. It's a dog that's native to Mexico, spelt with an X that I can't pronounce.
Mm-hmm.
A Zolo or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Right? That's for Anubis, which was DMX. Right? And so when we start realizing that we said all the masters had to be back at the close of the age to turn this shit around, we all here.
Is it true? They say only 10%. Tiho Tahikan, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Tio. Pardon me, y'all.
Teotihuacan.
Yeah, they saying only 10% of this area has been excavated.
Well, yeah, because we had great metropolises before the great catastrophe, right? The last ice age was artificially caused, and that's what sent us into a artificial Kali Yuga.
Give me a date. The people love the dates. The artificial ice age. Around what time was this time period?
So about 23,000 years ago.
Okay.
Right, it's a nuclear winter.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and the fallout from the nuclear winter, most of the people died. So now we repopulate the planet, but some of the people don't belong here. Now it's time to separate the wheat from the chaff. It's the harvesting of the ones that's the earthborn and the ones that's getting evicted for interfering with the natural processes of earth. So we can look at it in energy or we can look at it in people. If you look at it in energy, imagine that you have multiple streams of water coming in and it's polluting all of the water from one bad stream. All you got to do is turn that stream off.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can stop polluting the water. That's energy-wise how you look at the removal of the negative forces. Right. First you got to cut off the conjure method. The conjure method is also contributing factor to the Kali Yuga because the perpetual adrenaline, the children, the angels become so despondent if they don't turn off.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go into a blind rage. So this has to turn off. This is why they make us go to church and put ourselves in a spell called an amen. Tell the inner God to remain sleeping because it ain't safe to come out. It's not time to fight, and it's not time to surrender either.
Mm-hmm.
So you be still. It's you the watcher. Then when they try to resolve the problems that the age caused, they have to call higher intelligence to be activated along the path in the hierarchy. So the guy at the bottom can't just tell the guy at the top to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody between the guy at the bottom and the guy at the top had to have an opportunity to fix the problem. That's how you keep the president from having to deal with the totality of the issues of the people. Right. So when you whittle it down, it's like a pyramid in dynamic, the way that the problems are dealt with. So when you finally get to the top, you got to call for the next guy, just like Panther. Just like when they had the challenge to find out who was going to be the leader of the tribes. Right. So it's the same shit, but it's a different battlefield. Because they was using conjure, now you have to call somebody that can resolve and unlock conjures so he can find out why we can't close the age out and bring in the golden age so that the youth can flourish.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so the last conjures, we trying to break this goddamn spell of sleep. The lazy spell, the entitled spell, they got all our people not wanting to do their part for their own liberation. They want everybody else to do it for them. So you imagine you in a whole stadium full of people and everybody saying, you do it, you do it, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. Who the fuck gonna do it?
Mm-hmm.
And then how long is it going to take for somebody to take the initiative to get it done?
Right, right.
Right? So it's right now, when we looking at these ancient cities, this is the echoes from that past to jar the subconscious memory and to awaken the highest consciousness of the great egregore or thought form of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is how we know how to tap into different streams of knowledge. The more you learn about a thing, the more you can use that energy and embody it to use to your greatest good. So when we learn about these, and we learn that we in the hieroglyphics down there. Seriously, you pull up the hieroglyphics, it ain't no secret. Quetzalcoatl black than a motherfucker. They use black paint to paint him. There's a couple more. Kukulkan. All of the gods in the hieroglyphics down there is black because they represent the vastness of the universe, not because their skin was black. Because we would paint the color the person is in our time, we believe that that's how they used to do back then. But your color had a significance to your rank and position, and why they paint you a certain color. When you go to Egypt, you see Osiris is painted green.
Right.
When you go to India, you see Krishna is painted blue.
Right.
Right? Now, not that they wasn't those colors for real, but those are also other meanings to those colors.
Mm-hmm. Like
Right?
what? Like what? The green and the blue.
Okay, so the green is representing the fertility of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the father aspect of creation that's the great farmer or husband of nature to till the forest of the earth. They call him the old man of the forest.
Mm-hmm.
We still talking Osiris. He is the god of resurrection, therefore he brings forth all of the vegetation when he returns in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So on a counter flip, the antithesis is old man winter, who is another aspect of the old man of the forest. He's the aspect of him when he comes to cleanse the land as the frozen man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So his symbol is the Yeti ice image. Right? That's the old man winter.
Mm-hmm.
Long white beard. Right? And the white in ancient symbology always meant wisdom. It didn't mean that it had no bearing on the color of your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So that when they said that the royal family was white, that was because they was coming from the wise lineage. That's why it's saying wisdom is justified of her children.
Mm-hmm.
So when you realize, when you go back to the Sumerian tablets, it tell you how the earth was divided up before Enlil came into three major territories. You had the Americas, which was the land of Tahuti, the firstborn of the earthborn is what he's called.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had the Abzu, which is primarily sub-Saharan Africa, but it also included the Sahara. Back then it was a forest.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Asia and Europe, Eurasia, was all the domain of Isis. The whole world was matriarchal because the mitochondrial right is the superior right to the earth rights. And that's why we always was more we knew how to maximize the potential of our women by letting them be who they are and then pursuing our ends by enhancing who she is by facilitating more. They brought war, we had to learn that shit. Cause the sisters was fighting because we ain't learning about no goddamn fighting. Right? So we had to learn how to fight from our sisters. They call them the great warriors, the women king and all that shit. Hatshepsut wore a beard. Big Mama got on man shoes. Mama got her gun. All that shit mean the same thing. And the woman is the king. It's the matriarch. They had just as many women chiefs on this land as we did men, probably more. But we don't realize that the status is not based on no popular election. Soon as we get that part in our brain, spiritual hierarchy, it comes at birth. Alphas ain't made. Them motherfuckers is born. And most motherfuckers don't want no real alphas around them because they can't stand that type of pressure of having to fall in line. They want to run rogue and do dumb shit. They don't want to be held accountable, but they want to hold everybody else accountable. So you got to have somebody that'll keep everybody straight. Nature births that in every family. Right? So when we learning about the ancient cities of the gods, we talking about things that also trigger your genetic memory. You gotta remember, the DNA is crystals.
Right.
Crystals is used for what? Storing energy and information. They make them out of silicone in the computer, but that's made out of carbon in the body. Specific group of carbon at the neurocortex in the Pines region, where the black mirror resides to flip the Lucifer lens so you can see clearly what's before you. They got us upside down and backwards. They told us that north was up and south was down. That's not possible unless you're saying that the orbit of the earth is not facing the sun. It can't be, because the positioning of the earth only allows the southern hemisphere to get the maximum sunlight to maintain a tropical environment year round. The northern hemisphere, it can't maintain that level of exposure to the sun's rays because it's not getting as much. That means the top of it, the part that's closest to the sun, got to be the south. Then when we go read in the Egyptology, they say the Egypt oriented everything to the south as the top of the world. The Greeks even talk about it. Right? So who the fuck turned us upside down and told us that the north was up? Because that changes your perception. It changes your orientation, so you can't never see clear what you're trying to look at. It's always upside down and backwards. They told you to look at the world in reverse. Don't look at it for what it is. Look at it for what we tell you it is. So that's taking away your ability to use your discernment in your sight. Everything means something, but we don't know what everything means. So,
you ever read the book When Rocks Cry Out by Horace Butler?
I'm almost positive I did, but it's been a while if I have.
Yeah, that a lot of the things that are being said now was in his book. I want to let me read a little bit. This website, if anybody want to know, let me get your opinion on some of the stuff that's said here, Rod. Oh, am I sharing this? I'm sharing this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this website is americaistheoldworld.com. It says Teotihuacan is the home of Thoth, Atlantis, according to Horace Butler in his book When Rocks Cry Out. Teotihuacan was Atlantis, Heliopolis, and Memphis, Egypt, according to Mr. Butler. Teotihuacan translate as Tahuti the priest king. Yes, Teotihuacan is the city of Tahuti, the ancient god Thoth, whose attributes. Well, let me skip over. Let me read. I want to read more. There was something in particular I want to read to you, because this is just talking about Tahuti. Okay. I can't believe Teotihuacan, the capital of Atlantis and Upper Memphis, Egypt. I can't believe that Teotihuacan was Heliopolis, pardon the reading family, in Upper Memphis, Egypt, since Thoth, the Atlantean priest king, founded Egypt and built the Great Pyramid after his home of Atlantis had sunk, according to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Teotihuacan fits the description of Plato's sunken Atlantis perfectly. This island called Enoch, Tilian in Memphis, is the first city named in the Old City Testament of the Bible. What you think about Plato? And they're talking about Plato's description of Atlantis. They're saying that this city that we're talking about in Mexico, Teotihuacan, fits Plato's description perfectly. Who was Plato, and was he on point
Plato
with?
was a Greek philosopher, and I think he was a student of Aristotle, if I'm not mistaken. But he was one of the great philosophers of Greece.
Right.
Remember, Plato wrote the Republic. It's a discourse on Republican style of government. Right? What is a Republican style of government? It's a government ruled by the laws. So we're talking about a society based on Plato's Republic. That's what's part of it. But we also have something called the democracy. They say democracy means to be ruled by the masses, but democracy don't mean that. Democracy is ruled by who has the power to control. The ones at the top is the only ones allowed to vote. That's why you need an electoral college. So they got us go take a survey, but the electoral college cast a vote. So we have to follow the education to find out what these things mean, right? So Plato talked about Atlantis. He was the first European that talked about Atlantis, and the discourse that he wrote on it. He was saying that he had overheard a conversation, or one of his teachers told him of a conversation he overheard. Two Egyptian priests was holding a conversation about the lost city of Atlantis. But here's the kicker. Atlantis didn't sink, it flew away. They keep you looking at the water so you don't know what's coming from the sky. So they said Noah's Ark was at Mount Ararat, right? But in Genesis 7:17, it was taken up. It don't come back down into Revelations. Returning like a bride adorned for her groom, the New Jerusalem, the crystal city. Right? And so that means it didn't come back down yet. So that's the timing on the biblical text to tell you what the star alignments to look for as you follow the book on the zodiac wheel. Because it's all about reading the zodiac signs as above, so below. If you can watch it unfold in the stars, you'll see it sooner manifest on the ground. This is why they used to always go to astronomers and astrologers. Then they tell you it's evil, so you won't go to them. But they going. The same ones telling you it's evil got an astrologer and a fortune teller on their payroll. You know, we forget John Dee is the one that reinforced the spell. See, they don't tell you about the occult anatomy of history because John Dee did a favor for the royal family of Europe and cast a conjure that's just now coming undone. It's in the books. It's not even a secret. It's like more like a parody of history than a real part of history, and that shit is important as fuck.
Did you talked about Atlantis not sinking but flying away. Um, Number one, they say Mexico is the most visited country on earth for UFOs. So I don't know what's your thoughts on that. I want to get your thoughts on that. It being the most visited country in the world for UFOs, and also do UFO? I've heard that UFOs use pyramids as for refueling purposes. So what's your thoughts on that? Mexico being the most visited UFO country, and the UFOs using the pyramids for refueling purposes.
Well, the pyramids aren't active right now. If they did, we wouldn't be paying for gas. I mean, for lights.
Right.
All of this stuff would be free if the pyramids was active. It was a Tesla grid around the earth for power production and to give us access to wireless communication. All of this stuff is the same stuff we got now, but it was more advanced and more environmental friendly than all of the stuff we got going on now.
Mm-hmm. Mm. What do you think? When you said the pyramids, if they were active, being that we're technology, do you think when we visit the pyramids, when we activated by visiting, by stepping in there? Is that how you activate them?
Well, you got to remember the structure in and of itself still emits a frequency, a field.
Mm.
Even a pyramid that you can make out of copper, plumbing pipe, it'll still have a frequency that you can use for healing purposes. Right? That's why you're supposed to have the ceilings made to a peak. Arch ceilings, but not closed flat ceilings, because it facilitates the energy in a different way. We in Skinner boxes. We run around, we live in Skinner boxes, BF Skinner boxes, right? But when we open up the floor plan and the sky plan, we ain't in the Skinner box no more. Our perception of reality began to become more open to seeing what's taking place in the world around us now, because just the restriction of the boxing in allows the mind more room to expand. So it changes your orientation. Like that's what I was saying about them telling you that north was up and south was down. It's to distort your orientation and your perception. That little article you was just reading was spot on as far as the temple of Tahuti and Tahuti building the pyramids in Egypt. It's the same thing that the Emerald Tablets of Thoth say.
Let me read one more paragraph since you brought it up. It says, in addition, the Eye of Atlantis was also in Mexico near Teotihuacan, which gives credence to the fact that Thoth Tahuti Enoch was from America and that Teotihuacan is the capital of Atlantis. The Giza pyramids, which are aligned to Orion's belt, are not the only three pyramid alignment like it on Earth. You have the same three pyramids in Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan was part of Memphis, Atlantis, which was partially covered up when they built Mexico City, according to Horace Butler in his book, When Rocks Cry Out. The three pyramid alignment symbolizes the pineal, pituitary, and hypothalamus that are in the human body. I want to ask, when you think of Mexico, you think about El Chapo, you think about all types of drugs. When in modern times, when you hear about Mexico, you think about our programming. We just think about corruption. Is this done purposely in the media? Are they purposely?
100%. Look, we forget the Mexican-American War. America annexed from Mexico, California, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, and Texas. All that's part of Mexico.
Well,
and we call them illegal aliens if they enter those places unrestricted. That's not an illegal alien. They coming home. The earth going to make certain people move to certain geographies as it rearranges the tribes. We have to be in a position where when we start waking up, we can click up with our kindred tribes and start restoring balance to the land. Excuse me. That's our job. Our job is to assert superior jurisdiction by the law of right and by the laws of righteousness and by the order of the Queen of Heaven and Earth to restore the earth back to its pristine form. We already know it's going to take us some time to clean up all of these GMOs and toxins in the water, toxins in the air, but we believe we can do it if we give it enough time and use some of the innovations that we've discovered just in the last 10 years alone. Right? The Great Spirit is moving through everybody that's creating better healing devices. You know, they're learning the use of the crystals, the oils, the candles, without fear of being ridiculed or judged, because they feel it's part of who they are. It's part of their natural drive to be who they are, is to use those things. So they don't let nobody from the outside of them tell them what they already feel in themselves to something they should be doing. Everything got a purpose. If you know the purpose of it, then there's no fear of performing the purpose. And if it's a purpose you don't agree with, a free will universe, you don't have to do it. You know? So that's just so you ain't never held against your will. So then what happened? Slavery. Slavery is a psychological operation to manipulate your mind into believing that you somebody that you not, so that somebody that want to be you can pass for you and assert their jurisdiction where yours go. So as long as you don't know that you organic to the land and you ain't coming this motherfucker on no boat, right? Then you know you belong here. That means you organic to this land.
Right.
When the earth talk to you, do the earth tell you to take your ass back to Africa? She ain't never told me that. She told me to walk this land and get to know it. In the land to talk back. And she ain't never lied, because everywhere I done been, all I can hear is the cry of the blood coming from the earth. And it's the same cry. It's the same mamas weeping over the same babies in every city. Just replayed, recycled over and over again. As you talk to the land tell you the grievance. The land tired of sucking up the blood of wasted youth. So if the land tired of that shit, imagine how the mothers feel about it. We ain't even got to the good fathers yet. You know?
What's the difference between the Mayans and the Aztecs when we talk about Mexico?
The geography. Inca, Maya, Aztecs, geographically, 3 different locations going through southern Mexico, 3 different dynasties in 3 different time periods. Right? It's the same. We got Titicaca. It's another part of South America. And not far from there, there's a forested area that's look like hills with them pyramids. They don't want you to know it, though. It's pyramids under the water in the Gulf. Shit. The glass pyramid is what they always be running into the field when they disappear in the Bermuda Triangle.
So you said the glass pyramid. What's that now? Say it again. What you gotta explain that. What's that?
It's a giant pyramid that look like it's made out of glass.
And where's this?
In the Bermuda Triangle.
What, in the water?
It's pictures of it online.
Oh yeah. Okay, I gotta check that out.
Go pull it up.
Let me see.
Pull up glass pyramid, Bermuda Triangle. It's an energy vortex, because that's not glass. It's made out of some type of plasma. but it looked like glass to the human eye. Soon as you see it, it's gonna be unmistakable. You're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about.
I think
It damn near looked like a clear iceberg coming out the water.
there's a site that's saying that it's satire. Let me put it on so you can see. Hold up. We could do this while in front of y'all. Okay, so the first website I clicked on says story about the discovery of underwater pyramid in the Bermuda Triangle originates from satirical publication.
Right. So satire is what you call dry wit comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you can tell somebody the truth, but you can veil it with a joke.
Right. Okay.
That's satire.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So just because they telling it to you in a joke, don't mean they ain't telling you the truth.
Uh-huh. So you saying, damn, this look wow. So you saying this thing right here is real?
Yeah, it's look, it's video from pilots video in it too. It's not just still photographs.
Mm. Wow. Now let me ask you, what do you think about the possibility of the giants?
There were giants. There were giants at different stages of growth. You got to remember, we wasn't always 3-dimensional beings. We was like 12-dimensional beings, right? We smaller now because we more energy, more compact for the purposes of the same reason they downsize cars. But when we used to incarnate on Earth, we be fucking, our head be in the clouds.
That big?
Yeah. But then over time, when we start incarnating on a smaller size scale, depending on the age we was in, because we evolving the organism that would become the manifest 3D form of expression, where you can live a lifetime in 120 Earth years, but it's just a blink of an eye to a God.
Right.
Because they're eternal beings.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff is a bunch of eternal beings converging their mental ability to create using the principles that you find in the what's that triangle called? The star life.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you pull up the cover for the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, you'll see he's holding the star life in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody had to create the construct in order for this 3D reality to manifest in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The science is Metatron's cube. Metatron's cube is your proverbial shield of Solomon and seal of David. The seal of Solomon is the 5-point star, but the shield of Solomon is the 6. The shield of David is the 5-point, but the seal of David is the 6. Right? So they using both of the symbols. The one represents man, one represents woman. Right? So you have to find the balance between the two. Lest you turn out to be a sissy. Not meaning homosexual, a sissy as in you can't control your emotions, you can't control your fiery masculine energy. You collapse. It doesn't work for you.
Mm.
right? You feel more comfortable being told what to do than to tell somebody what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You undervalue yourself, but you don't know you undervalue yourself because you believe your confidence is high.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you call self-delusion. That's what we call shadow work, is facing those types of thinking patterns. Right? So you say, well, if not me, then who? Whatever the problem is, that's the first thing you're supposed to ask.
Mm-hmm.
If not me, then who gonna fix it?
Right.
Right? Most of the time, it ain't gonna be no or who. It's just gonna be you. Because most of the time, it's gonna be your problem. Now, you might want to bring other people in to aid and assist you, but most motherfuckers don't want no parts of your problem. They just want you to fix theirs.
Earlier, I asked you, I think, because I asked you two questions. I don't think you touched on the question of Mexico being the most visited country with UFOs. Is there any truth to that statement?
Look, they everywhere. I can't say that they the most visited. They might be the most visible.
Yeah.
Because the people there kind of like more closer to the earth roots. They not as like fearful energy as the cities.
Right.
You see, they put us in these cities, concrete jungles, and keep us in a state of fear for primitive responses to the environment. It's a brilliant oppression plan. It's just time for us to break it. The cities are in the wrong structure for mass human interaction because it's designed to create hostilities between people.
So you feel as though we should be leaving the cities? You think we should be leaving these cities and moving back to nature?
We should be going back to. So it's not practical to say everybody leave the city. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But what's practical is this: everybody who remain in the city need to be connected to somebody that they can get out of the city for periods of time to reload and to resync with nature. Right? Okay. We need to be reestablishing family bonds. So the number one piece of advice I've been giving the young chiefs, asking me what can they do, is this: speak to somebody in your family that you know they're related to you, but you never had a conversation with them. Give them 30 minutes of your time to call them up.
Yeah.
You know, get to know a new family member at least once a week.
Okay. Shit.
Guess what? When you do this connection with the family like that, you know, they gonna call you back.
Right.
In a week or so. Hey, I was just thinking about you, figure I'd call you back. Right? But you becoming a pivotal building block to your family structure being restored. And it's gonna go back to a particular matriarch. Right? And that's where the family lines are gonna go back to. I'm not sure who the matriarchs are in the history books yet, but it ain't gonna be no secret. Ain't no more secret squirrel shit. You know, if a motherfucker charge you $385 million to run a motherfucking freeway through here, we want to know if he got his money. How you paying? See, part of the redemption process, because you got to remember, they had us in salvage right laws under admiralty jurisdiction, under the pretense that our landmass crashed into their ship, the good ship Plymouth, what we call the Mayflower. Now, why do we call a ship the Mayflower that was named the Plymouth? And who changed the name? You see what I'm saying? Because it's a reason for that. What Malcolm say? We didn't land on Plymouth Rock.
Plymouth Rock landed on us.
What the fuck is Malcolm talking about? He's talking about the jurisdiction of the court case. In the jurisdiction of the court case, they are the ones claiming we crashed our landmass into their ship. Everybody know it's preposterous that the ship have to crash into the landmass. Right? So this is what he's talking about. to negotiate. I'm sitting here going over this earlier today. Let me show you. I was over this, right? And I was reading, going back to, I done read this stuff multiple times already, but I was going back through the Treaty of Peace and Friendship and what was inspiring it and what was they talking about. And we didn't have anybody representing us. It didn't have anything to do with us. It was the corporate America making a deal with the Sultan of Morocco in a protectorate order. And I don't know how the fuck he was gonna have a protectorate, but anyway, it go back to Saudi Arabia. You had to go to Saudi Arabia to get the emperor to unseal whatever the agreement was. Right. So when I was going through that earlier, I couldn't believe what I was reading because it was blatantly what ended up having to be done. And I remember it's a part 6 of the agreement. I think it is.
All right, my fault, brother.
Yeah. I was looking in here because it was somewhere in this agreement, and I'm gonna show you something.
Okay.
Yeah, part 6 of the agreement on the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And it was talking about returning to you what's yours. Anybody who can find somebody that's organic to the land, right? Now they calling them, if any more shall bring citizens of the United States or their effects to His Majesty, the citizen shall immediately be set at liberty and the effects restored. And in like manner, if any more, not a subject of these dominions shall make prize of any of the citizens of America or their effects and bring them into any of the ports of His Majesty, they should be immediately released. This is the carryover from that agreement with George Washington and the Feathers versus the Fezes. Mm-hmm. Farrakhan went to Mecca 3 years ago to cash in an order on that part we just read. Yeah. Because if you can prove who you is, then you can get them to get off your land. But you got to go back to the source of the document. Mm-hmm. And the Sultan Aziz of Saudi Arabia is the one who was originally responsible for it. So who's the heir? If you go watch Farrakhan's video from 3 years ago when he went to Mecca, you see him go in these big ass doors. Mm-hmm. He's going to close the contract for us. He's going to get he literally going above the fucking Pope head to get our shit. An emperor is bigger than the king. Right? So he went to an emperor's heir to honor the emperor's word to restore the organic people back to their rightful place. But none of the Moors seem to know any of this.
Why don't the Moors know about this?
Because they're too busy arguing dogma and they're not following the civics. You got to understand civics to the degree where you know how to assert your sovereign jurisdiction as a pretender to the throne.
Right.
Right? Then you got to identify the throne. Then you got to identify your organic land that you're from. Mm-hmm. Right? And then you got to identify your cause for jurisdiction. Once you do these things, and it's verified because only certain people communicate a certain way. Remember, they know who the next Dalai Lama is within 5 years. Every day they go out and they look up at the sky and they hold their hands up. And when they get a response, they go mount up the Tibetan monks and they go find this kid, and then they lay all these artifacts out in front of him. And he can only pick his from past lives. They gotta always have been one of his items, and they come from different past lives. So he picked the right items. He the Dalai Lama. He picked one thing wrong, he ain't the Dalai Lama. Right? So the same way that energy comes back, you can read it by knowing the zodiac signs and the charts. You can know whose energy is returning and where it's going to return at. So this is why it's talking about falling stars and shit. Right? They're not necessarily talking about falling stars. They should be telling you count the meteors, count the asteroids. A lot of the asteroids come in cycles because they're going in a big orbit around the Earth or around the solar system for that matter. Right? And then they come back close enough where we can get to see them flying across the sky and they're looking like a flash of light. Right? So now NASA is trying to figure out if they can use an explosion in space to redirect a asteroid that's about to hit the Earth. It's possible.
Didn't they just collide with an asteroid? What happened with that?
Then man, that looked like CGI to me, and it looked and it sounded made up, like in the background, like it was some college kids having fun.
Yeah. Let's see let's see exactly what they say. NASA.
I posted it today.
Oh yeah.
I posted what they said. I gotta let people know what they're talking about, even if
they
don't, you know.
Definitely. All right, let me share this on the screen. Let's see exactly what NASA are talking about. They said NASA crashes DART spacecraft into asteroid in world's first planetary defense test.
Now I'm gonna tell you how you know that's a lie. Pull up Operation Star Wars.
It got video games and shit. It didn't have in movies.
Put Ronald Reagan. Put Ronald Reagan name behind it.
Why Reagan's Star Wars defense plan remained. Let me see. Reagan said he wanted to avoid nuclear Armageddon. Critics called the Strategic Defense Initiative far-fetched and expensive. So they already had a strategic defense, they say. Okay. Ronald Reagan saw the proposed Strategic Defense Initiative as a safeguard against the most terrifying Cold War outcome, nuclear annihilation. When Reagan first announced SDI on March 23rd, 1983, he called upon the U.S. scientists who gave us nuclear weapons to turn their great talents to the cause of mankind and world peace, to give us the means of rendering these nuclear weapons impotent and obsolete. And it goes off. It goes on and on and on.
Okay, so let me give you a little history behind this Operation Star Wars. Operation Star Wars was a series of lasers put up on satellites around the world, and these lasers was to shoot down extraterrestrial craft. You can pull up the Ronald Reagan. He did a speech announcing the launching of Operation Star Wars and what its purpose was, right? Because he was talking about what if some kind of catastrophe happened where all of humanity had to pull together to fight some entity or being from another world. It was right in the Star Wars speech, right? So they got these laser defenses and they have used them. And NASA has released various different videos of them trying to shoot craft out of the sky with the Star Wars technology, and that's why I said that other article was on some bullshit. Because I already know they've been using the Star Wars to try to shoot down craft.
Mm-hmm. Let me read one more paragraph from this NASA thing that they claiming what's going on. The space okay. For the first time in history, a spacecraft from Earth has crashed into an asteroid to test a way to save our planet from extinction. The spacecraft, NASA's Double Asteroid Rendezvous Test Probe, slammed into a small asteroid 7 million miles from Earth tonight, September 26, and what the U.S. Space Agency has billed as the world's first planetary defense test. The goal to change the orbit of the space rock called Dimorphos around its larger asteroid parent Didymos enough to prove humanity could deflect a dangerous asteroid if one was headed toward Earth. So they saying they trying to save Earth from these asteroids.
Yeah, but that's some bullshit.
Yeah,
they was fighting galactic wars. That shit over with now though. So they have to start leaking that information to soften up the public before they just come out. Donald Trump come on TV and say, yeah, for the last 50 years, we've been fighting these extraterrestrial motherfuckers that look like lizards that be sucking people blood, and they was the power structure we've been fighting the whole time. Man, they're not going to do that. They're going to soft sell it to you and give you a little bit at a time. Fauci was a fraud. Hunter Biden was a crack addicted, corrupt individual who drug his father into dirty businesses practices around the world. They don't want to tell you that shit, but they're going to slow roll it out like that.
Wow. Yeah, that's the game. That's the games that they play. That's definitely the games that they play. I mean, you said earlier, all the masters are here right now because it's it's the end game. We want to see the work that we put in past lives. We want to see it come to fruition. Now, what about all the since the masters is here? Are all the entities from different? Does everybody come down here now? All the grays, the greens, the people David Icke talk about. Is everybody coming down here now? Because it's the final showdown on Earth.
And there are going to be some things that don't look like us walking around with us. But by that time, our consciousness will be evolved enough that we be able to see them in their true form. Right now, true form unknown.
Right.
Everything from fairies and gnomes to giants had to take a human body. Just the rules that we came in under this chapter of human history. It's the great book coming to a close. That's how they call it. The injustice was between Virgo and Scorpio. So they put Libra between Virgo and Scorpio. In ancient times, it was Virgo, Scorpio. Scorpio always served as the protector of the Virgo. Right? So when you bring in the balance back, you have to return the Scorpio and Virgo back to the same page where the energy is what you call the energy lock signature.
That's
right?
Funny. I'm a Virgo and you a Scorpio. That's funny, man.
Yeah, right. And look, and you sitting with your head in the sun.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And you got the tiger on your cap. No cap.
No cap. Ain't that? It's funny how it lines up, huh?
Yeah. And the alignment shows the singularity. The tiger represents the ancient Arabic nobles of the mystic shrine, and we've been talking about Farrakhan making pilgrimage to go over there to cash in that check. Right? To get us restored back to the land. To tell these motherfuckers that Tahuti back on the land. That's what he went to go tell them. Right? And he took a little book in his hand. I got the copy because I wrote the original. And so when he went over there and they was fucked up, So when he came back, he started making phone calls and making shit happen on the background. All of the chiefs that's been waiting, he's been putting them on alert. Soon as he get across to the people that this shit is a rap, to the level that the people can grasp that this shit is a rap, right? Then that's when we gonna blow the lid off this bitch. They gotta understand it because what they was doing is trauma binding people. And it's giving the world Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
And all of this trauma binding been coming up in the families as family quarrels. It ain't your family member that's really the problem. It's really somebody that's trying to put a wedge in the family. That one of y'all not honoring the respectful family bond. So y'all not gonna get along until both people bump straight. Right? So when the turnaround is when the mental acumen start to rise because people want to know, well, I want to know more about my relatives. Like, I'm gonna call some of my cousins I ain't never talked to, some of my great aunties and uncles that's 90 years old that's about to croak and get some of that family history before they slip up out of here.
Right.
Because they finna force a lot of elders out by rolling blackouts. That's their signals. They already told us they're gonna do it. We think they bluffing until they do it. They ain't bluffing. This is a spade game. This is the last hand. Who got the joker?
Let's
Where did they get a load of me?
Man, woo. This has been a powerful show, y'all. Shout out to everybody in the building. We got 4,500 people in here. We got a packed house in here. So many of y'all. I want to get to some questions before we get out of here. So at this time, give me some questions for the brother Rod Hayes. I seen somebody earlier ask about. Hold up, let me put your cash app. Right.
Hey, somebody said the Joker, aka Baron Samadi. That's the Lord that my big mama called me when I was a baby.
Oh yeah. Let me put the brother Rod Hayes cash app on the screen. Somebody asked earlier. $ Sick Ape, SIK capital APE.
Yeah.
So if you would like to support this brother, we got a packed house. Make sure y'all show this brother love with all this research this brother out here doing. We're gonna get to some Q&A. All right. I see y'all started posting questions. Oh man, this was a great show. Y'all, this is a great show, right, y'all? Man, this is powerful. Let's Let me hold up. Oh, I just seen a question. I'm trying to get to it. The chat moving fast. What do you know about the L's and the 11 race? I hope I said that right.
That's something I'm not familiar with. I can't speak on that. I don't know what they mean by it.
Okay. Somebody said, what we doing about the banks closing on October 1st?
Look, whether they close or not, I don't know, but I know the Pope got that deadline for the Vatican money, and that's probably going to negatively affect you. I told everybody to prep. You know, I done been screaming it for 2 years now, 3 years now. You know, and everything that I be saying, when I be saying get ready for this, I told them they're gonna lock us down with this pandemic that's coming in 6 months. 6 months later, we locked down and people texting me talking about you right. I don't want to hear that shit. You ain't prepared. If I'm right, you should have been prepared.
Indeed. Somebody said, where's it at, man? Here we go. Okay, here we go. What can you tell us about Sirius X?
That's a satellite radio station. But I think she probably mean Planet X. Also called Rilo 7. The Red Giant. Got a few names to it. but she's talking about Nibiru. It's close as fuck. I mean, people seeing it in the sky and the sunrise in varying parts of the globe, depending on where they at. It sticks out some places louder than others. Some places you can see it on the opposite side at sunset. You know, and it's just there. Shit, that big ass motherfucker here.
How do you feel about Russia's Putin announcing nuclear war?
Ain't no nuclear war finna happen. If one nuclear missile go in the sky, you're gonna see all of these motherfucking cloak ships come out close.
It's a wrap. They can't do that, huh?
It's prohibited.
So what happened when they did it the first time?
Time that they didn't think we was evolved enough to split the atom. And when we did, that got everybody to tell, these motherfuckers about to blow themselves up. Get the guns from the kids before they kill themselves. Yeah, that's how they was.
And the ET stepped to the governments like, yo, chill? Is that what happened?
Well, they was already, that's what made them set up the military-industrial complex. You got to remember, they didn't set that up to after World War II. And Eisenhower gave the speech talking about how terrified he was for allowing the military-industrial complex to be established because it gave them the ability to take over the world, basically. But the military-industrial complex was created with military intelligence and extraterrestrial beings. That's why they say Trump know about the Galactic Council, because he spoke to him.
Who, Trump?
Yeah. If you go back to, he did a speech at the United Nations, and he was telling them motherfuckers, we got some motherfuckers behind us. Y'all think we got some juice. These motherfuckers got some shit you can't fight. Right? He letting them know. He said, anybody else try to come over here with that takeover shit, this is a wrap. The buck stops here. He did a whole speech at the United Nations behind his communication with extraterrestrials that's pushing for the organic people to return. We call them the Elder Sky Brothers. That's what the tribes always referred to them in the varying different tongues. They was the Elder Sky Brothers, the Elder Sky family that always come every 3,600 years like clockwork for the last couple million years. The whole Alafia song is not new. We've been singing that to the motherfuckers every time they come back.
The what song? What song you said?
The Alafia song.
What's that?
From The Lion King. It's an African song to welcoming the ancestors back.
I don't remember it. I gotta go watch that movie again.
Yeah, look in the audience. I bet you somebody say, I know. They probably tell you the whole name of the song. Wow, man. You're gonna have me watch Lion King, man. Let's get to the next question. That's the story about us. Yeah. Man, listen, the Lion King, I'm gonna tell you, man. Real quick story, right? I ain't watched that movie when it first came out. I kept hearing about it. I didn't watch it. I finally got around to watching it like years and years and years, probably about 6 years ago or something, like real recently. Finally watched the Lion King. I'm sitting there in the living room watching it. I start crying. I couldn't help myself. I'm like, my girl, like, nigga, you crying? I'm like, oh shit. When the father died, I'm like, oh, he died. You're like, yo, it caught me by surprise, yo, Ross. I swear to God. I ain't cried since my mother passed away. Hey, look, this right here, I don't know I didn't know why was this movie? I was like, oh God. Oh no, that what was his name? Simba or something? I forgot, whatever his name is. Mustafa, right. I forgot. But it's crazy. You want to see something? Yeah. Put in Kimba, Kimba in your search engine and go to images. Now remember, the one from the Lion King is Simba. Yeah. Okay. All right, let me share this screen. Hold up, y'all. Give me 1 second, y'all. Be patient with Brother Rich. All right. Now what we looking at here? Kimba, the white lion. This is the same story. Kimba is the heir. The white lion is coming up to prominence. You see what he like growing up there?
Right, yeah. Wow.
This was a very popular story in the 70s. Kimba the White Lion.
Wow.
It's the same as the Lion King.
Same as the Lion.
Yeah, only this one is more Eurocentric.
All right, let's get to the next one. Okay, do you think the solar flare is going to charge up the people that's vibing high?
Anytime a solar flare come in, it affects us. But the solar flares that's coming in now are coming in with data upgrades for the DNA. The human DNA is designed to get an upgrade at a very particular point in the positioning of Earth in the galaxy, in the universe, or what we call in the Great Wheel, right? And when we get to a certain point, the sun reacts to where it's at, and we already know from cycles of this what to expect, so we know what energy should be coming in to upgrade the DNA. And these solar flares is coming in now, is coming in on a high enough frequency where all species is going to either upgrade or die out.
Let's get to the next question. Did the Galactic Federation take Queen Elizabeth out the game?
I think the Earth Confederation put her to death. So in order for us to do business with beings from another star system, we first have to have a unified presence all over the planet. You know this unified presence as the Leviathan Force. It's a military doctrine of the United States Armed Forces. It's called the Leviathan Force. Remember, in the book of Revelations, it say in the last days will awaken the great Leviathan. Right? This is what it's talking about. Apocalyptic prophecy. So many screaming mockery. Biblical revelations, just a glimpse into the prophecy. Constantly speak of synagogues that was made by Satan. They claim to be chosen, but they only masquerading. They demonstrating wicked ways in these corrupted last days. They claim the true Messiah putting bodies in the graves. With the Leviathan forces put together in America, a glimpse into the scheme could be any scarier. Beware of the pale horses known to carry death, plagues and pestilence like SARS, known for taking breath and AIDS and infected people around the world. West Nile bird flu bring the plagues to 4. Ebola, mad cow add 2 to the equation. God damn, next plague could kill a whole nation. Now that's 7 deadly plagues, unless it's 7 deadly sins. Still, 666 is just the number of a man. So where's all these preachers and these doomsday prophets? And where's this chosen one that they claim was going to stop it? And where's this Satan that I need to execute when these fake ass leaders won't tell us the truth? So the whole concept of the Leviathan Force
powerful,
tied to the whole revelation of who we are. The Leviathan Force is the united military presence of all nations involved on the earth. The last one to be part of the Leviathan Force was North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Donald J. had to go over there and sit down and tell him, hey, we don't want to go up against these motherfuckers up here because they are not fighting with no bullets. They got some shit your bullets can't stop. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you follow the program, on the flip side of this, y'all gonna be good. Y'all gonna be able to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all gotta treat the people right.
Mm-hmm.
So you see Kim Jong-un's changing his father's dynamic in government.
Right.
They don't want to tell us that. They want to tell us to focus on this motherfucking deep state cleanup effort in the Ukraine. That shit don't got nothing to do with us. But they keep putting us in the middle of it. Look, we got motherfuckers in the hood starving and they sending billions of dollars over there to a motherfucker that got their own government.
Yeah.
We ain't asking no questions. If you pull out a 1984 almanac and you look at who financed Russia, who sent them economic aid, number one, United States. From the 1920s all the way up into the wall fell, it was always the United States footing the bill for the United States Socialist Republic known as Russia. The whole fucking time, the Bolshevik Revolution, all that shit, that was all American made. It was all predicated up on the workers' struggle. If you go back and you research it, at the time that the Bolshevik Revolution was taking place in Russia, the unions was developing over here. That's not a coincidence. They already had guilds, right? And they had certain unions, but there was no auto union yet, right? When you see all that stuff, that's when you see blood and guts. The unions fought tooth and nail for the worker to be properly compensated. But what we do, we got comfortable trusting the motherfuckers to go negotiate for us to keep selling us out. Right? So what you do, you take their power from them. They all fired. Right? Because you got to have an independent lobbying body that maintains the appearance of propriety. When you get multiple indictments coming in a trade union for corruption, that puts the appearance of propriety in jeopardy in the eyes of the worker. The worker then have to replace the leadership. All of it. The good got to suffer with the bad, because if you was there when the dirt was going on and you didn't stop it, you part of the dirt. The sealer is bad as the stealer. Just because you seen them making deals and you didn't say nothing, that don't make you noble. Right? Because you knew that it was all of these people's lives at jeopardy. But you wanted to take this envelope under the table. Right. You wanted to get these front row season seats to your favorite sports team. You know, and whatever other emolument they offer them.
The next question is, do you believe in twin flames, and do they play a role in reactivating the golden age?
So when we talk twin flames, it's a lot of connotations that go with that. But we actually come from soul groups. The soul groups form and they come back together at different times to perform a function. What we would be calling twin flames would be somebody that's from the same soul group. A true twin flame is when it's only two people from a specific giving soul group. That's almost impossible. That's how rare that is. But to come from a soul group of 50 to 100 is more common. Right? Because any one of y'all that cross paths with each other can set the other one back on the right path. Right? This, when they talking twin flames, what most of them is really talking about is divine feminine that realizes her divine feminine nature, and a divine masculine who recognize his, because that's the highest connection in the communion of humans. When the divine masculine and divine feminine come together, that's like putting batteries in a remote control to change the time of one reality. Right? And the one thing that everybody got to do is stop writing sob stories and horror stories for your life. Start writing love stories for your life. Make your life into a love story. See the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Male or female, it doesn't matter. I'm with the gangster shit. I'm with the pounding on my chest, boxing on the block. I'm with all that shit. But at the end of the day, if it ain't in the name of love, it's a waste of time. Right? So, when you do your projection for your life, always make it a love story. Whether it's a love affair with your favorite sport, love affair with whatever makes your heart happy. Make your life a love story. Stop writing that gloom and doom shit they keep telling us to write.
That's deep. You said when we do our projections to make it into a love story. That's deep.
Yeah.
That's
Everything in the name of love.
everything. Everything
Yeah.
in the name. That's
I'm gonna beat your ass in the name of love. Because when I get done, you gonna know what tough love is like.
Oh, he said I'm gonna beat your ass in the name of love. Oh man. We gonna get to about 2 more questions and then we're gonna get out of here, family. Let's but yeah, make it into a love story. That was some good advice right there. All right. Well, somebody says, what's up with the love frequency and how do we access it to change us in the world? So how do you access this love frequency? They want to know.
Hey, look, it's a cheat code I'm gonna give you in 1 minute. But first, I
Uh-oh.
gotta tell you what this love energy is. Mitochondria fuels the cell.
Mm-hmm.
The love energy is the fuel that the mitochondria is injecting into the cell to give it life.
Mm.
The women can turn up the mitochondria in a man. He can't turn it up on his own. His job to trigger her to turn his mitochondria on is to allow her to feel safe, secure, and happy. And the rest of it is her energy. Once it gets to that level of she feels protected, she starts emitting an energy from her mitochondria to yours. When she do this, it starts tweaking your mitochondria little by little, giving you a little bit more every time you make her feel that way. And by doing this, she's turning your higher self on gradually. And this is why it's important to know if you're making your partner happy. You should find happiness in making somebody that you want to be with happy.
Right.
Right? Because that is the gratitude of that exchange that makes it functional. Right? So I'm not the kind of guy that I'm going to sit in the living room and let my girl cook and knowing that we got kids that need to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the kind of guy I'm be like, what you need me to do so we can get this show on the road?
Mm-hmm.
But really, the part where I'm cheating at is I just want to be in there with her. I don't give a fuck. I know how to cook. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the energy exchange becomes reciprocal. Now it's bouncing back and forth. Now, you can artificially turn your mitochondrial up. When women do it, it's going to start making their negative trait be so seen they can't hide it, right? If she got a habit of doing something that's annoying to a lot of people, that's going to be more pronounced because she's going to trigger somebody to correct her so she can go correct herself.
Mm.
For the man, when he start turning up, if he haven't been doing this shadow work, he going to be belligerent, he going to be an asshole. But the cheat to turn up the mitochondrial is to supplement with a supplement called PQQ. This is the substance that the mitochondria use as a fuel source to operate at optimum function. Once it starts operating at optimum function, if you've been doing your shadow work and you a man, you might get a little bit more aggressive, but you're going to be under control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you're going to be less likely to not say something when you see something out of order. You know, and so if you become less tolerant of bullshit and more encouraging of things that'll make the person enrich their life, You don't want to see people doing dumb shit when they can be doing prosperous shit.
Right.
So we in a great race right now to trade off things that'll make you prosper and expand who you are, and things in exchange for the things that was making you feel deficient. Right. Reason why we have so many suicidal youth is because nobody's teaching them at an early age. When life get hard, it's supposed to be hard. When life get hard, it's supposed to be hard. That's the test. Everything on the test was in the practice. It's just the practice wasn't the hard part. Once you get done with the test, the hard part is over. You start training for the next hard part. If they seen it from that perspective, they wouldn't be so quick to give up. You know, the philosophy is no retreat, no surrender, never give up, never give in, full speed ahead, balls to the wall, knock them till they fall. Right? So with that mentality, there's no room to give up. Because that's what it is I quit. I can't, I tap out. Right? That's too much for me. But most of the people don't know that they're dealing with highly psychic, spiritual beings, and nobody's cultivating that higher psychic and spiritual skill set that would inspire their life instead of make it depressing. We used to know how to recognize the children with special talents and get them to specialized training right in the family. Everybody specialized in something.
Or something, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the family knew what everybody's specialty was, because all we had to do was call Big Mama house and she gonna tell you who do what. You know, I called Big Mama house. Big Mama, I'm about to I think I need another bedroom, but just found out this girl pregnant again. Oh, baby, that's your Uncle John. You know, they build bedrooms on all the time. They be building them on for Aunt Lucille them up the block. They built Uncle Charlie a barn not last week. That barn, you should see that barn. Right? She tell you everything, all they work, the report she get back. And she said, now you can't let little Charlie come do it, because everybody say he do some work for them. He always botch the job. But if he come with his daddy, he can get the job done right. If daddy ain't with him, don't mess with him. Big Mama tell you.
Yeah.
Because everybody in the family gonna tell her how you perform.
Right.
And she ain't gonna try to, because she just telling you who do what. She ain't trying to, you know, she just know who everybody in the family is. When we get back to having Big Mama house again, Big Mama be taken care of by the single aunties who's widows. They all moved back to Big Mama house because their kids done growed up and now they retired. You know, a couple years later, her husband died. What the fuck she gonna do? So she goes stay back with Big Mama to help take care of Big Mama. That's why we always had multiple aunties in the house with Big Mama. They called us insects because they say we behave like ants around our queen. So, I mean, this is how they see us. Is we insects, we pets.
Yeah.
And I see them as shit on my shoe.
Damn.
You know? So, Mama say you just can't throw people away. Right? So, you treat people the way you want to be treated, or you leave them the fuck alone.
Indeed. Let's get to we're going to get to this last question from Prince B. Charles. Is Elder Chief Rod familiar with the Great Cosmic White Brotherhood, and can he expound?
Yeah, that's I'm also associated with the Great White Brotherhood through Maurice Doriel. He was the first one to translate the Emerald Tablets, and I got an actual desk copy. Right, I'm gonna show it to you. It's just the actual desk copy. I had ordered it, and then I think they knew who I was, and they sent me a desk copy. Is it up here? No, I don't got it up here. It must be still downstairs. But anyway, yeah. But the Great White Brotherhood is a order of priests. They called the Great White Brotherhood because when they get initiated, they are given a white priest robe.
Mm.
That's the origin of them being called the Great White Brotherhood. And they the philosophy is purist. So whatever you do, try to do it in its purest form, from the purest place in your heart. They also tied to a group of Catholic priests, and these priests are called traditionalists. These are the ones who told us about all of the secret pedophile complaints on the other priests. So you had to have somebody on the inside. So they was working with the priesthoods in other domains to get the information out. Right. So the high priests of the Great White Brotherhood, they tie into the priests of Melchizedek off of the emerald tablets off the Green Lodge. Right. And then that ties back into the priests of Tahuti. So it's all in the hierarchy of the priesthoods.
Is Melchizedek and Tahuti, is that one and the same?
Melchizedek is an office. It's a position.
Okay.
Right. That's Dr. Malachi Z. York hold that seat right now. He is the Melchizedek. He's the keeper of the records of Melchizedek.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm a priest from the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. See, so I had to go through all of their schools without being a part of their schools. And that's how I get to see where everything at. But they don't know where I'm at because I ain't never enrolled. They can say I've been to some services, and they can also say they shut a bunch of fucking doors in my face in 2008. Because I tried to help these motherfuckers back then. But they say I ain't had no alphabets behind my name. I said, I don't give a fuck about their alphabets. I taught me. I ain't never met a teacher that can teach me better than me. So
man, yeah.
When I formulate the question, I just go find the answer on my own. My father told me when I was a little boy, the power is in the one with the knowledge. That's where the real power at. You know, so I ain't delusional about the power structure. He who knows the most, goddamn it, can figure out the most ways out the trap.
Indeed. Man, listen, I'm gonna thank you once again, Rod, for coming on here, man. You ain't disappointed, man. You came with it.
Ain't no problem, man. You know I'm here when you want me.
I want to thank the family. Let me post your Cash App one more time before we get out of here, my brother.
I see there was a whole lot going on in the chats.
Man, a whole lot. We got almost 5,000 people here. They loving it. All right. All right, fam, we about to get out of here. Make sure y'all show some support to the brother Rod Hayes. Hit up the brother's Cash App. Man, this brother be going in. He got me doing all types of research behind the scenes, looking up all types of videos. I'm about to order that book, When Rocks Cry Out, because I was supposed to get it, but I'm about to get that book. But yeah, my brother Rod got me, interested in America more than I've ever been, and that's a good thing.
Man, this our shit. We supposed to be interested in this motherfucker now.
Yeah.
That's the underlying message that I want everybody to get. This our shit. Divorce from the system. Let this bitch fall so we can get on about our business.
Family, we gonna get my battery's gonna die. My son took my charger. We getting out of here, family. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you support the brother Rod Hayes. Rod Hayes, thanks for coming on Black Magic 363. We out of here, family. Peace.